because the only way the disabled community is going to change for the better is if we get more people that are not willing to take the, oh, here's what we have for you. That's it. No.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the only way the disabled community is going to change. And I won't be afraid to speak up, speak out, and speak out about it. And you shouldn't be either.
This episode of Nick Speaks is brought to you by the Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. At Columbus Restorative, every session is designed to restore balance to the body and mind. From easing stress and tension to supporting overall wellness, their team provides more than just a massage. It's a complete restorative experience. It's about truly restoring your body and mind so you can show up as your best self every single day, whether you're stressed, sore, or simply need time to reset. Their team knows exactly how to help you feel renewed. And listeners of the Nick Speaks podcast can enjoy 20% off their next visit by booking online and using the code SPEAKUP at checkout. That's SPEAKUP, SPEAKUP. Take time to recharge, renew, and restore with Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. Now let's begin today's episode of Nick Speaks.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this brand new episode of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nick Comstock. You guys, not only is this a brand new episode of Nick Speaks, but this is the last episode of 2025. I can't believe we're already here. It's been such a great year. We're going to talk about that a little bit today and what is ahead for Nick Speaks and why podcasting could be such a valuable part of your business and how it is helping my business grow almost on a monthly basis. We're going to talk about that and so much more. So stay tuned. But before I get into today's episode and a guest, which we haven't had forever, I'm so excited to finally have a guest, and I don't have to talk for 40 minutes by myself. So excited. But before we get into that, I do want to get into a couple show notes. You guys, we are over 800 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Once I can get to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, I can monetize Nick Speaks. So if you want to give me a late Christmas present or just a Nick, I love you and you're awesome present, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as Apple and Spotify. And do us a favor at Nick Speaks, give us a rating, especially on those Apple and Spotify platforms, because then it'll tell people more about the Nick Speaks podcast and we will reach more people. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Also, you guys, to keep Nick Speaks coming to you, I do have some financial expense to take care of. Now, I don't see any of that money. All that money goes directly into producing awesome content for you guys. So if you feel so inclined to give $5, $10, $20, please visit the GoFundMe link in my bio to do that. I would so appreciate you for doing so. I know that's probably a double negative, but I don't care, I think. Anyway, we have my producer with me today who's helped me get, as of this recording, 71 episodes so far, and we are going to talk about how to grow your business through your podcast. Welcome, my friend, my producer, Kyle Goodnight, to the show. How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Nick. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here, my friend. How has 2025 treated you in the podcasting realm?
It's been really eye-opening and Very good, not without its struggles. Of course, my own podcast have kind of taken a back seat because I'm helping so many people with their podcasts. But that's okay. My podcasts have now, I finally gotten into a groove by being able to do my podcast and make sure that everybody else gets their podcast at a timely manner. So yeah, it's been great. I work with probably about 12 different creators now, and including, and then if you add my 2 podcasts to it, that's 14 different podcasts that I have a hand in to either help produce or actually just coach people on how to podcast, how to do it more efficiently, and how to all the different things that are about podcasting to present themselves well on video. As you know, you've embraced video since the beginning, and but also on the audio stations as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. A lot of people I think people make the mistake of thinking, oh, to do a podcast, you just sit behind a computer or a phone and hit record. If you're going to do a good quality podcast, there's so much more to that.
There is, and the video is king. I mean, don't let anybody tell you different. I mean, I see once in a while, I see advertisements on like Facebook or TikTok to say that, that a video is dead, audio is king, and I'm like, no, video is still king because what happens, what we do since the beginning, as you know, and as people who follow the Nick Speaks podcast, as you know, you see a lot of Nick's shorts, and you'll see us stacked, or you'll see us, or you'll see just Nick on the talking about something catchy, that's interesting or intriguing for 30 to 80 seconds, and those are called shorts or reels or TikToks or what have you. And that's really those numbers that those get, that's what drives the growth of your page. I was told by a very successful video podcasting slash daily news organization, but sports. I had a meeting with them early on in my process of starting my Goodnight podcasting solutions, because I wanted to see if we could partner somehow, because they were looking for partners, but my topics really didn't fit into with their topics. But he said, hey, listen, shorts is where it's at. He's like, shorts help you grow your subscriptions. So people see your shorts, they want to come see more about you, and then they subscribe. So, shorts is king. You can do shorts with just audio, but they don't get as much engagement. I've done it with both. I've done both for clients, people that have a static picture or they don't want to be on camera. I do shorts with just a regular picture that's like maybe them, or a static picture of what their topic is that week or what have you. But they just don't. The shorts don't perform as much as well as video. Video shorts do. So that's why video is king, along with YouTube. About a year and a half ago, it became the #1 podcasting RSS platform. And that, RSS feed is where your podcast lives. And then Apple and Spotify are just search engines. I believe both of them do offer an RSS feed option now. But, for the most part, they had to do that because YouTube started letting people put their RSS feeds on, and they started kind of getting crushed. So YouTube was #1 for a long time. I haven't actually looked recently within the last 3 or 4 months, but I do know that, well, with YouTube, remember, it's connected to Google. So Google is ginormous when it comes to search engine optimization. So our systems that we use, the system that I use with you, creates fantastic SEO optimized descriptions, titles. And what happens is that goes into the SEO for search engine optimization. And when you just go to Google and search something, most often, depending on what you search, one of the first things you'll see is a compilation of shorts that are talking about the topic that you're searching. So you got to think, when people are searching anything, there's a possibility for your shorts to pop up in their Google search right off the bat. So that's why Google Shorts with video is king. Sorry, long explanation.
Yeah, no, it is true. And people who say video is dead, I mean, look at how many people were on TikTok. I mean,
yeah, I'd love to get your TikTok. I'd love to get your YouTube channel to have the views that your TikTok does. I mean, come on now. I mean, your TikTok is king. I don't know why your YouTube channel is not getting as many numbers as your TikTok. Now, I don't think you talk about most of your YouTube channel And maybe that's something we look into, Nick, in the next year, is how to take your TikTok material and upload it to YouTube. So it's not only your podcast on YouTube, but it'll start being the same exact content as your TikTok. Is there a connection inside of TikTok that you can connect it directly to YouTube and it goes live in both places, or is that not a thing inside of TikTok?
It's not no, it's not a thing inside of TikTok.
Okay.
At this point, we can upload some TikToks as shorts because some of them are short enough to be considered.
Well, they just they about 6-8 months ago, they upped the length of shorts on YouTube to compete with TikTok to, I think, 3 minutes now. But I know TikToks can go for more than that. But
yeah, TikToks right now are at 10 minutes.
oh,
I hope they
those
don't.
are like little miniature episodes for you, dude.
I hope
You
they
can
don't.
start. Oh, wait, there! I just came up with the right. You mean when you and I get together, just for your listeners, Nick and I talk a lot. You're probably you probably have logged the most hours of coaching, and not even I want to call it coaching because that's the professional word for it. But Nick and I see it as friends just chatting. But during those chats, we come up with some really creative ideas for his podcast and whatnot. So you just gave me an idea when you said that. You could do like a Nick Speaks B or Nick Speaks 2 or something and have a daily that then you talk about at the beginning of your TikToks, and at the end of your TikToks, you talk about the Nick Speaks podcast on a daily basis. And now you have consistency on a daily basis that's pointing them to your Tuesday show. That's a full episode. So just something we can talk about in 2026. But this is the kind of stuff that Nick and I do. That's what I do with all my clients. Something will hit my brain and I have this creative thought and I throw it out there, and somebody may go, you know what? Nope, I don't want to do that. Or they may go, wow, that could really help increase engagement. So that's kind of what you get when you get a podcasting coach who has done it the wrong way for many years. And now for the last 2 years, I'm doing it the right way and doing it in a way that helps people grow their business, their platform, their viewers, and all that.
Well, see, now that I am so big on TikTok, anytime that I put out a video that, especially one that I notice is blowing up, I will always get down in those comments and be like, hey, I have a podcast too.
Sure.
So in my bio, check it out. We drop new episodes every Tuesday. And so that's usually how that works. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it must be something with the algorithm, because the algorithm of TikTok and the algorithm of YouTube are so different.
So different. Yep.
And I mean, I've been on YouTube for almost over a decade now, and this is the first time that I'm even over 800 subscribers.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me that long to get on TikTok.
Right. Well, it's just a different way. TikTok has a little bit different way of following. It's easier, and I think it's easier ultimately than hitting the subscribe button on YouTube. But that's just me.
Yeah. And so by the way, if you guys are listening and you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, also hit the notification bell and select all, so you get every notification that comes out from not just me, but if you do that for any of your subscribers, you'll get all their notifications when you
they don't need other subscribers. They just need to tune the Nick Speaks.
Well,
you get all your answers to life. It happens with Nick Speaks podcast.
Oh God, I don't know about that.
Well, hold on a second, Nick. Hold on. I wanted to do something. I'm wearing red in celebration of the Buckeyes making the playoffs. And when does this go live again?
This goes live on the 30th.
Okay, so right before we play the winner of Miami and Texas A&M, so we're recording it before we even know that part, who wins that game. But I need to go ahead and pay homage to your podcast and change the blue background, because Nick Speaks podcast is all about the blues. Not the blues as in nobody gets out of here without singing the blues. Not that. Just his color palette is blue.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if by the time you see this episode. But
no, we said 26. We said 26.
Yes.
So 72 should have the new
intro and the new.
Somebody's got to start working on that, Nick.
Yes, I don't know. I haven't been able to get where I'm working on it for a year. Anyway,
I work better under pressure. You know that. I'm a paramedic, for Christ's sakes. I work better under pressure.
I wasn't talking about you. I think you
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
do. Yeah. So, but how has podcasting, because I know you deal with um 12 other people, well, pretty
Yeah.
13 or 14, because I've recommended a couple to you.
Yep.
So, and by the way, if you work with Kyle and you have somebody sign up and get his podcasting services, you get a little
Yeah.
kickback.
Affiliate. You get it. No, well, it's an affiliate. Don't say kickback. That sounds so negative. It's an affiliate. Just like I tell people who want to get monetized on podcasting but don't have sponsorships first, the quickest and easiest way to start getting sponsors per se is through the affiliate commission type of structure, where let's say I was talking about a gum, and you buy the gum through my link, and I only get paid when someone buys the gum. So that's affiliate marketing, right? That's affiliate commission. So a lot of early podcasters, that's the fastest way to start getting commissions, is talk about a product or a service that stems from the link or the referrals that come from people that they know, and then that's called the affiliate marketing structure. So yeah, so if the way I have it structured is, if someone becomes my client, and then they tell me about someone else that becomes a client, that there's a commission that's involved that goes back to that person, the first client that does it. And actually, Nick has got 2 clients now under his belt. I didn't tell you that the other one is official.
That's awesome.
Yep. So
So,
I'm actually doing an in-person training with them tomorrow, and they'll have their podcast up and running probably the first week of January.
oh, yay!
You just got paid, Nick.
Yay! I'm so excited. Well, because to be honest with you, I'm going to be working as hard as I can, even more so now, because we saw the mess that the government put people with disabilities through in November with the loss of SNAP benefits and everything else. And I've had an immediate panic attack saying, if they can do that with SNAP benefits, they can do this with Social Security checks.
Mm,
So it's always been a dream of mine, and still is, and a goal of mine, to get off the system. And
yeah. Well,
when
that's
I,
why you started your podcast in the first place. Nick and I mean, I don't know how many times you've told the story, but we'll just do a real quick recap. Mutual friend of ours connected us because there was someone working with Nick to try to find him a job. Because he'd been told that he can't get a job, physical job where you're at some place working on a computer per se, and go to work on a daily basis, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I'm not gonna get all political on that side of things, because I think it's malarkey. But that's okay, because it led Nick and I to our relationship and our building of what he has built, and I have helped him build. So basically, Nick came to me through our mutual friend. We had a conversation with all 3 of us. Well, actually, the guy that was helping you wasn't our friend. It was the other person that connected him with you and me. And Nick found out that I was a voiceover actor. And the first hour of the conversation was about voiceover acting. And it's, I told him the ups and downs, the good, bad, and the ugly of voiceover acting. And it's a marathon. It's nothing that's overnight. And, there's a lot of editing involved, and a lot of, there's a lot of sites that you have to pay for to be able to get auditions. And by the time we were done with that, he had mentioned that he had, how many, I think he had 64,000 TikTok followers. And I was like, hold on a minute, time out. Tell me more about that. And then you mentioned that most people on your TikTok are saying, why don't you have a podcast? And I'm like, Nick, we should have started with that. I'm a podcast producer. I'm like, let's talk about that next time. So we scheduled a meeting, got everything lined up. It was a done deal. We just had to figure out funding for him. And we figured all that for him in a few weeks. And we started podcasting, started coaching. I mean, honestly, before you even became my client, how much we spent a lot of time together. Like, we spent a lot of time on the phone, and yeah.
we do. If we spend any time doing anything, it's on the phone. We don't, unfortunately, see each other a lot. This is the
Well,
first time
that's just because I'm so busy. Yeah.
in a long time. We spend a lot of time together on the phone, texting and calling, and then if the one of us doesn't respond, we're like, "Are you okay?"
Well, it's one of those things where, I definitely, I want to make people understand that this business relationship has turned into more of a friendship than a business relationship. I mean, there's still the business side of it. We don't want to lose track on that. I am not going to get burnt. I have been burnt in the past by doing stuff pro bono for people. Like, you got to have a little skin in the game. That's like podcasting. When I started making sure that people had skin in the game to start with them, things went smoother. There was more commitment. There was more attention. There was more understanding. There was more listening. When you podcast with people that it's just a glorified hobby, or when we monetize, to really get a good podcast going, you kind of and to provide the services for someone like Nick. He's legally blind, and his hand dexterity is not fantastic, so the editing side has to fall on someone else. And some people just don't have time to do it, and that's another part of my coaching. Is I explain to people that are able-bodied that if they don't want to spend the time editing, that's where I come in. You spend the time meeting clients and meeting potential customers and recording podcasts, and you don't spend the time in the back end of it. That's where I come in, and I do at the back end. And that's where Nick was such a great student. You were one of my first students. You were one of my very first true students, Nick. I don't know if you knew that. I had worked with other people and taught them how to do stuff, but they weren't a paying student. They were just kind of like my friends or people that were acquaintances that wanted to know more about it. And just one thing led to another. It was just easier for me to do it. And I started getting, I don't want to say taken advantage of, because I don't feel that that's what it was, but there was just a lot more time with no back end or no support from their side of stuff, from their promises. And it just got to the point where it weighed on me as mentally, physically, family wise. I was spending a lot of time away from family doing the editing and stuff. And as soon as I started making sure, because I had a long conversation with one of my podcasting mentors that helped guide me towards the paid production / podcasting concept that we're going to share with you in a few minutes. And Nick will go into details of how it's helped him and what I've taught him and explained to him. And, it's one of those things. As soon as I got over that hump of charging for my services and my knowledge and my NIL, if you will, my name, image, and likeness, everything has gone much smoother. They're more attentive. They're more ability to pay attention to what they need to have done on their end. They're more creative on their end. And it's a model that I don't want to go away from. And I feel that it's a good model. It's a good business model. I make good friends out of it. I make good clients out of it. Hopefully I'm a good producer. Do we have snags once in a while? Absolutely. We work through them. Done and done. Right.
Well, I will say this. I've been in podcasting. We started our second year together in August. I've been in podcasting for almost 2 years now. And I was telling my primary caregiver last night, because every week, I text you or vice versa, and I say, how is the editing of the show coming? I'll text you either on Thursday or on Saturday. And you text me back and you said, "Oh, it's almost done. And then I'm going to work on your next one." And I'm like, I have never, since I've been working with Kyle, nor have I missed never taping an episode, but an episode has never missed an air date. It's always been on time.
Yep.
And like, you've been burned doing stuff for free. I've had people take a non-existing approach because they're doing it for.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It goes both ways, and people, I really want people to hear that out there. I mean, that's so, I'm so happy that you said that. That didn't come out of my mouth, everybody. That came out of his. It not only is he has a certain expectation of me because he's paying me. So he has a level of quality that he wants, a level of communication that he deserves because he pays me. So, and he has, and I have a level of quality and communication that I deserve from him because he pays me. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's a two-way street kind of thing. And it just smooths things out. It really does.
Yeah. And honestly, even if I wouldn't have been able to pay you, I mean, I can tell you this right now, even though that I will always pay you, you would have never had a problem with me taping episodes or getting episodes to you, because this is my final straw, as they say. I mean, I really had to step on this stone and make it work, because I
Yep.
was told there's nothing that you can offer an employer. Point blank, that's what I was told. There's nothing that you can offer an employer.
It's
And I
malarkey.
well, we can say bullshit here.
Well,
I-
you're a very intelligent young man, and I say that because I've got Nick beat by a few years. So I think I'm 25 years older than you. No, what are you, 32?
I'm 35, going to be 30
35.
in
Oh,
March.
okay. All right. So about 20, just right about 20. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, Nick and I share a birthday in March, so we'll get together for sure by then. No, hopefully we get together before then.
Hopefully so. There's a lot
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah, a lot we need to do
work
to
on.
kind of get the next phase going. But yeah, I mean, ask any questions you want. I mean, I got to make. What's funny is I got to remember that I'm the guest, because I'll start going into going into host mode, and that's how Nick and I's relationship is when we talk about podcasting and we start bouncing ideas off each other. Next thing you know, one of us will take like a lead role in talking about stuff, and then we'll hear it, and then that'll spark an idea, and then the other person will take a lead role. So I got to remember that I'm your guest, Nick. I apologize.
Well, no, you're good. Hey, the show isn't here without you. So to me, I'm just a small part of it, but a vital part of it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't record, then you don't have Nick Speaks.
So, but I do want to ask you though, because now that I've seen how podcasting can really help things, and anytime that I think about wanting to give up, it's always that one person that comes and says, "Hey, I was listening to this episode, and
Right.
I'm gonna make my entire team listen to it now, because it really made me think about some things." So that is something that makes me happy and continues to do it. But how have you seen the income for some of your clients increase, or has
Oh,
it?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, just starting off with you, I mean, you've had speaking engagements now. You get
Yeah,
affiliate funding now. We're trying to get some sponsors for Nick, to help with the stuff. Problem is, and we'll talk about, and I know one of your questions, because we already kind of talked about it, is guests appearances, people that communicate and try to become guests. Sometimes it just falls short of the communication, and we're finding that right now with some of the sponsors that Nick has reached out to. But other people, I've got a chiropractor out there, one of my early clients as well, chiropractor group out of Tampa, and they were spending over $3,500 a month on podcasting episodes. Now, don't get me wrong, their podcasts looked amazing. They had high end long intros and long outros with on-site cameramen and stuff. So almost like a TV production. So, you get what you pay for when
right.
it comes to
Yeah.
that. Now, I showed them a few of my episodes when we actually met for a podcast recording on my podcast, Ignition Path. And they had just mentioned that they're trying to figure out a new way to podcast. And I'm like, oh, tell me more. I'm like, because I'm a podcast producer. And they're like, you are? And I said, yeah, it's one of the reasons why I have Ignition Path. I talk to entrepreneurs, and if there's a fit or people want podcasting, I've got, that's my lead generator for podcasting. And I use my podcast as my number one marketing tool. And their eyes got big, and they're like, well, how much do you charge? And I'm like, well, it just depends. So let's set up another meeting. It's going to be a lot longer conversation. I got a lot more questions to ask. It's all about me asking questions, you answering what you want, what you need out of my services, or what you're already doing for yourself. What kind of expectations do you want? What kind of social media exposure do you want? What are you willing to do on your own? That kind of stuff. So it's a whole question and answer conversation, not just a blanket per episode, because I can produce an episode for minuscule, but it would maybe not look great, right? But I can go full on, and I can get up to that $3,500 if you want me to. I mean, I can go crazy. Now, what's the good happy medium where it's quick for you, it's quick, it's manageable for me, and it's something that is deliverable in a time period. Some people don't get their podcast to me until the night before that they launch, and there's got to be a manageable time frame before I can make it to go live, for whatever reason, other than, there's life out there, and I get that. But it's one of those things where that company, they have already moved into a new building because they've grown so fast. They've started a whole new wellness system. They started not only did their podcasts feed their networking and their, what do they call it? Their, what is it when you send out an email every week? What is that called? Is that a brain fart?
Your newsletter.
Yeah, they use the newsletter format to promote their podcast with sample, and I even made like a little sample pre-show small video from the existing show that kind of gave highlights and smushed them together. That goes into their newsletter now, and they've built their and they had a strategy throughout the year to grow a new wellness system and a new functional medicine system. And I asked him the other day, and I'm probably going to have him back on the Ignition Path podcast, because he was originally on the Ignition Path podcast a year and a half ago, and now that he's grown his business, I need to have him back on and say, okay, now what has podcasting done for you? Like, and get it from the horse's mouth. But he just mentioned everything's going great. Our podcast is definitely feeding it is our number one lead generator. It is our number one marketing tool. And they've had, I don't know dollars and cents. I don't go that deep, but they've had much success, and they still continue to podcast and understand the value of it.
That's awesome. And I will say, because I have people ask me all the time, what is Kyle's pricing? And I will say, and I say this all the time to people when they ask me that, it depends on what you need done. Yep. That is the
depends on where you record on. Like, you record on Zoom, so that's a couple more steps for me. Not for the editing process. If you record inside a Riverside underneath my umbrella, that changes things. Underneath Riverside, and you want your own access, that changes things. Everything. How many episodes a month you want? How much pre-work? How much you know or don't know about podcasting already? What is the onboarding process for you? Do you have an artwork yet? If you don't have artwork, do you have a name yet? Some people I've worked with didn't even have a name. We had to work in work sessions on Zoom like this to just come up with a name. I had to find out what their business was like. That's true business. I always say that it's podcast strategy coaching, but it's really business coaching, because I believe wholeheartedly that any type of small entrepreneurial business, and even brick and mortar businesses, I think they all need a podcast to be an authority in the space, connect with ideal clients, and connect with partners and collaborators. I'm going to be approaching a local business here, and I ran the idea past her this summer. I said, hey, why don't you have a podcast yet? And she's like, what? Me? A podcast? What would I talk about? I'm like, how many artists do you represent for your store? Oh, like 280. I said, okay, so you could have easily, skipping weekends, you could easily have a new artist on every day and interview them and ask them about their skill and their trait. And she went, oh my gosh. And she got free. That's what I do. It's another thing I do when it comes to, I'm an ultra creative. I've created podcasts for people on the fly. Walking my dogs one night, somebody bumped into me, asked me how to do some more promoting for their side business. And I said, have you ever thought of podcasting? He's like, what would I have to talk about? I'm like, well, what's your business? And he started telling me about his business. And right there on the spot, I came up with an idea for his business. And so that's the difference. You get a little bit of marketing background with me from my medical sales days, from, my wife was in Cincy and I had marketing experience with that. And then just marketing experience now with almost 6 years of podcasting for friends and on my own and for clients now. So, yeah.
Well, the cool thing is that Nick Speaks is really out there, because even Chat GPT knows who I am.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I don't know if OpenAI has
I'm gonna go to Chat GPT on a different browser that I don't ever talk about my business, because my business knows a lot about, my ChatGPT knows a lot about you. So it makes sense that it would know about you, because I use it to help with creating stuff for you. And back before our systems had some stuff built into it, it would help me use it for your titles, your thumbnails. Like, I used it for creative purposes to help get my thoughts off the page. But now I can go to ChatGPT on a different browser, and let me see if I just ask it, and this will be like the free version of ChatGPT, because this browser I've never entered. Yeah, I can't even. It says log in, and so that means that I don't. Will it let me ask without logging in? Stay logged out. Okay, I can stay logged out. So what is the Nick Speaks podcast? Typing it in real time. All right, this is what it says. The Nick Speak podcast, created and hosted by Nicolas Comstock, that focuses on advocacy, empowerment, and lived experience discussions related to disability. Yeah!
Yes.
That is a raw first time I've ever touched base with that ChatGPT. Oh, and don't get me wrong, it keeps on going on. There's at least a full copy and paste page of stuff it talks about. Typical episode content, listeners will hear discussions on such as challenges, accessibility in healthcare and community spaces. Ooh, that's right there from your recent episode.
Right. So
Navigating relationships and loneliness, that's a recent episode.
Yes.
So it's pulling stuff in real time. That's pretty cool. I think it's that 5.1 that they just launched. It's more real time.
And I was like, and no, here's the thing. But I was going to tell you this, but they had mentioned an episode that hadn't even aired yet. And I'm going, what?
Wow. Well, because it's loaded on it, because it's already loaded.
Yeah.
It's loaded, waiting to go. So it's already in the search engine optimization world. That's probably why.
And I just thought that was.
I'm asking who helps with this podcast. I said, who helps with this podcast? Nicholas is the main creator. Production, no public listing of who so they're not looking inside your episodes. There's no public listing on the official Nick site or Nick Speaks sites about who helps him. So it doesn't. We'll have to change that. We'll have to figure out a way to get it into. It's probably pulling it from. It's probably pulling the information from the title and the description, because that's the SEO stuff. So we'll maybe after this conversation, that Kyle Goodnight with Goodnight Podcasting Solutions helps Nick Speaks podcast with his podcast.
Well, yeah, we'll have to do a credit or something in the end, which
either that or put it. We got to put it in words inside the description. Yeah, not a big deal. I mean, yeah, I don't want to grow too big. Don't get me wrong. Everybody always wants 1,000 customers, but I like my small little group. I get more hands on with them. I get more one-on-one time with them. I've got to be really careful. I've got a couple of things working with one client that could expand pretty quickly with some stuff that she's got some ideas, and we're collaborating more so than actually doing a true client relationship. So that's more about collaboration. And there could be a very big potential with the people that she knows in her region that are looking to have their voices heard. That's the big thing about her. And that's another thing. Podcasts are all about getting your voice heard. And we know for a fact, I mean, I'm hoping very well that 2026, I hope that the Nick Speaks podcast gets on the radar of the Ohio legislature, and people will start listening to it in higher up places.
Well, a lot of people do, because a lot of people, I'm on a housing work group right now for the state of Ohio, and people come up to me. I mean, even the current director of disability services, I listen to your podcast when I drive.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you know what we need to do, Nick? When I come over next, and I say when I come over, Nick lives 25 minutes from me. So we've met in person, we've had lunch together. We need to do it more often. We need to get more consistent with that.
Yes.
And then that's on me. I just, I spread myself so thin, family and full-time job and 12 clients. Yeah. But I need to do something. So
you make your time for me, though. There's never, I wait probably less than 24 hours to hear back.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Heck, I mean, normally it's pretty instant. I mean, you send me a text, I'm pretty responding. Very few times have I had the "Hey, you okay?" text, because I may. Yeah. And here's another thing, Nick. I mean, just a little bit about what happens on sometimes. I'll read that you sent me a text. I'll read it. I'll go to respond, and then I get pulled in another direction. Whether that's family, dogs, whether that's I'm already working on something, whether that's on my full-time job and I get a call, it's one of those things where, and then it just you start getting on a different track, and then you come back to it later oh my gosh, I never sent that, so.
Yeah, well, we talked about too what the plans are for 2026 as far as Nick Speaks. Listen, we have my producer on here today, and a lot of people ask me, "Hey, how do I get in touch with you with speaking engagements?" Kyle is directly not my agent, but indirectly he kind of is. So if you ever want to reach out to me and say, or reach out to him and say, "Hey, how can we get Nick on this podcast?" He's the guy to go do it. You could also reach out to me as well, but be rest assured that I'm going to run everything through him anyway,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
one of the people in my life that has made sure I've not gotten screwed.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I don't know how. Yeah, I want to. Everybody. We spoke about it before on your other podcast when I came on. I'm a full-time paramedic, so I'm used to serving people. So I don't see that any differently. How I service my clients. It's just an extension of serving my community. It's just now the podcasting community to help them grow. I've got knowledge that they would like to have to help them grow their business. So how do I become of service with them? But yeah, and in 2026, if I don't get pulled away by a concert because my wife doesn't want my daughter to drive through the mountains, I'm going to be with Nick on site several times, hopefully this year, to record him in person and turn those recordings into podcasts. We already did it. Your caregiver did a wonderful job recording, and our system that we use for the podcasting platform and to do the editing did a great job of taking out all the background noise and stuff. I didn't have to work too long on the audio. But yeah, so that's another thing you get when it comes to learning how to podcast and do it differently. A lot of people think you need this. A lot of people think you need one of these. Right now, Nick is talking on the microphone that is attached to his camera, and listen to him after I do this. I should like at this spot in time, I should have you talk for a little bit and then do back and forth between what the system does and then what the natural sound is. If you don't have a microphone, it makes Nick sound like he has a microphone. It sounds like he's right up here, right in your earlobes, and up close and personal with you, just because of the system I use.
And if you wear earbuds, I am in your earlobes.
You're in my head. The voice is in my head. No.
So,
Nick and I are also very goofy guys, and so we have gotten to the point now we can be really goofy with one another. We're kind of keeping it tame right now, but we can get goofy with one another and just laugh. And I mean, Nick is one funny mo fucker. If you ever want it, Nick is hilarious. Nick, if you were to just call and talking to Nick and just have a general conversation, he will make you belly laugh. He will. I've been in tears with some stuff that he said. It's out there in the wild, so people can find the things that make me laugh really hard with him. But oh my gosh, I'm thinking about it right now. I'm crying again, Nick.
Yeah, I know where you're going. I remember I was still asleep in bed, and you called me.
Yeah, you sound like I sound like I was crying because I was laughing so hard.
Literally crying. I'm like, Kyle, what is wrong? He said nothing. I just saw one of your videos, and I was on the floor. Oh, okay. So, yeah, and if you're not following me on TikTok, guys, what the hell are you doing? At Nicolas Comstock, follow me on TikTok. I have a lot of fun over there. This podcast more so. I mean, I can be funny here too, but this podcast more so is to bring the issues that the disabled community has and needs corrected. So, there'll be some times where we'll have some really nice brouhaha laughs and stuff, but I really, especially with this next year, we've got the midterms coming up. I used to say I don't want anything to do with politics. I want to keep that out, but disability and politics go hand in hand, and there's so much to do with politics.
Yeah.
And disabilities. So if you're certainly a senator out there, I mean, heck, I'm going to go way on the line. If I could even get President Trump on to address, hey, do you really hate people with disabilities? Not that I really think he does. I mean, it's just, because we have to, as a disability community, get louder than the other communities, because that's why we don't have what we need and deserve, is because we've allowed our government that is of the people, by the people, for the people, to tell us disabled people, no, this is what we're going to give you.
Yeah, and that's been for years. That's not, I mean, and one reason, another thing that Nick and I, and a lot of people, Nick didn't know this, but I have been in the community before, and even as a young man, helped the disabled community from going to disabled camps as I was a teenager and helping physically with people to get around the camp. And so, the Special Olympics, I helped back in the day with that. So I've been around it for years, and it's always been this. It's not something new, everybody. So don't get mad at the two administrations that everybody like wants to have a battle about right now. But it's always been a problem. It's never been where it should be.
And, I said this in one of my earlier episodes. It's because no matter what president you are, what side of the aisle you're on, you have world leaders to deal with. You have gas prices. You have domestic and national terrorism to worry about. Disabilities, unfortunately, gets put at the bottom of the list, and it's our responsibility to literally push ourselves and drag ourselves to the top, or at least to the center of the list, to say, hey, we're here.
Well, and that's another thing when it comes to, and just to kind of not get too lost in a pigeonhole when it comes to the politics of it all, but Nick and I have introduced each other to people that have helped Nick. Nick has introduced people that have helped me. So the podcasting, to bring it back to, why we podcast, and I say we because I podcast as well, but why Nick podcasts, why I podcast, is it helps us build the know, like, and trust with the people that we have come on our podcasts and the people that listen to our podcast, because we become an authority in the space. We bring guests on to talk about topics. We have our own opinions about topics. Sometimes they're well liked, sometimes they're not. It is what it is, right? When it comes to that. So with podcasting, and the number one reason to podcast, not just for the content, because that's great, but my number one reason, I flip podcast on its head. My number one reason to podcast is to make connections, so I can network, so I can help other people out, or have those other people help me. I want it to be, like Connie said, you had Connie on your episode. So did I on my episode. We've had a couple of mutual guests, Olson's going up, getting ready to go live next week for me. Tiffany's thing. Tiffany's Christine. Christine, but Christine and Connie, two different people. They both come on both of our podcasts, and I didn't meet Christine except for because of Nick, and Nick didn't meet Connie except for me. So, and we're both helping each other's people out. Like, I was networked with his people and he was networked with mine, and we're both doing things with both of them. And that's what podcasting is about. Podcasting is about that network, that network ability, the ability to expand who we know, and to know, like, and trust, and to either get clients directly, to get collaborators or partnerships. That's 100% why I podcast. And the secret's out of the bag, but people are like, well, it doesn't work that way. Well, Nick, I remember the call. Kyle, everything you said that would happen has happened. And the first time he told me he got paid for a speaking gig, he's like, it all happened exactly how you said it would happen. And that's what happens when you put your heart into it. Like Nick.
And I remember when my brother called me, who's helping me fund, production with you, and he said, Nick, you've got to start breaking even. Within 30 days, I broke even with podcasting services.
Yep.
The services that you gave me, one check, I broke even with podcasting services.
Yeah. And I just wanted to get better. 2026 should be better for you. I mean, every year should get better. I mean, more and more speaking engagements. So if you're out there and you want to have somebody come and talk about podcasting, Nick can talk about podcasting. Want to have people talk about disability services, Nick can talk about that. You want to have people come and talk about business and podcasting and stuff, get a hold of me. Nick and I will both come out. The great thing about Nick and I, if we ever were, I would love to share a stage with you, Nick. Oh my gosh, let's do that. I just thought of it. Let's get some way we can share a stage. Because it would be a great back and forth of why it all works, why podcasting does what it does.
That room would be a wreck by the time.
We'd have to start passing out beers early just to make sure that we could blame it on the beers. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I'm a pina colada guy myself, but
Yeah.
yeah, but this has been so much fun. And guys, it's only going to get better. I'm hoping to, go on the road. We had our first Nick Speaks on the Road podcast back in October. I want that to happen more.
If anybody wants to see how Nick is in person in a live audience, go find that episode.
Oh my God.
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put that. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I get so many people. But those show notes, in the show notes will be that podcast, specifically that podcast where he spoke in front of 75 people?
75 people for one of the largest home health care companies in the state of Ohio.
He had them rolling.
Yes.
Rolling. I mean, I normally
so
when I edit episodes, I kind of go through it kind of like not as a listener, but as a worker. I work on the episode. So I don't specifically listen to it like as a consumer, but I always go back and listen to my clients' episodes. There it is. It's 63, episode 63 on the Nick Speaks podcast. Why caregiving is more than a job with Tony Britt and ViaQuest. Go watch the video. Go watch the video on YouTube. It is a great episode to see what Nick can do to a room and how he works a room.
I love it. It's been really hard for me, to be honest with you, to sit here and do a podcast every week because I have no way to gauge, how am I doing? Is this resonating? And so until you guys see me out in public and say, hey, I saw that episode or I listened to that episode and this is what I got out of it, I don't really have a way to gauge what you guys want to hear or don't want to hear.
What you do and what you don't want to hear. He says it all the time. I'll help reiterate it. Leave comments of subjects, reach out to Nick, go to inside of the description. It has his linked, not LinkedIn. Well, it has that too, but it's the Linktree page. Nick's Linktree page takes you to so many things. It takes you to his TikTok. Yeah. It takes you to his scheduling page. Trust me when I tell you, if you just schedule a meeting with him and have a pre-call, and I've coached him on having pre-calls and the importance of it, and he now understands why those pre-calls are so important, because that's where you really start to build a relationship, and then the recording, and then, yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
When I schedule a pre-call with you, show up.
Oh, we have had a few of those, not Joe.
Show up. Yeah. And if you're not going to show up, please email me.
Yeah, email him.
That's just so unclassy. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Go on. No, that's okay. That's good. Well, and I stumble across people all the time that I think would be a great guest for Nick, and I'll reach out to him, and not everybody reaches back out. I get it. People, right. Some creators are just, it may go to a secretary, it may not even go to them. So, I mean, it is what it is, and we just have to keep on plugging away and just asking for the next. Just keep on plugging away at guests. Just keep on getting guests.
Yep. And for those of you who asked me, we said we were going to do a little bit behind the scenes, because somebody was asking me today, that's going to be coming on in the next couple of weeks. They said, well, what do you talk about? I said, that's exactly why we do the pre-call, is because we sit down and literally shape your episode. I said, I don't have a list of questions. Nope. It's a natural conversation. I said I have a few pre-programmed questions that I always ask people in the disabled community, but other than that, it's just a conversation between you and I and whoever decides to listen. So that is how we do this. That is why the pre-calls are so important, because if we don't have them, we can't shape your episode. Yep. And
I won't. Right. I won't have if someone doesn't want to, well, you can read who I am online.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not coming on my show. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not. I want to get to know you first. It's very few people, less than one on one hand, who I had a pre-call with, and I just didn't jive with them. It just didn't gel. And by the end of the call, I'm like, you know what? I just think this isn't the right, platform for you, or what have you. I mean, I'm not rude by any means. And what they had to say was interesting. For example, was the lady who has a business of worm farming Nope, she didn't fit my platform. I was not interested in worm farming. And, we had a conversation. I mean, half an hour, I learned all about worm farming. And I just decided that you know what, that's just not the subject that I want to sink my teeth into.
Okay. Well, I don't think anybody want. Okay. Well,
You see, you get it.
there is a podcast for everyone, I guess. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
I
And I told her, I was like, "Do you ever think about putting a podcast up for worm farming? How many worm farmers are out there? Oh my gosh, I never thought about a podcast. That'd be a great idea." Like, okay, I'll work with you if you want me to. And I never heard from her, but it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, and so this is how this works, and I'm looking forward to the next year. Maybe we can get into the podcast Emmys or something. I've heard that's a thing now.
It is.
Um, so maybe
Podcast. Well, I want to go to Podcastalooza. I don't know how to say it. Podcastalooza or something like that. It's. I think it's out of Tampa pretty much every year, but it's where they're like big, huge, famous podcasters are there too, and it's at a huge convention center, and people with podcasts have booths and stuff, and people get connections. But I
I
would
would.
love to go to one of those one year. The only worry I have about going to one of those that's so big, it's I like shiny new things, and I would be like introduced to things that I'm like, ooh, I want to spend money on that. Ooh, I need that for my podcast. And next thing you know, I'd be spending thousands of dollars on stuff that I'm like, oh, I didn't really need that. I just thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys, I hope this episode didn't go all over the place for you. You guys are like, Kyle and Nick are two crazy people. Yeah, we are. And we love what we do.
Yep.
And this inspires to maybe your podcasts out there, especially if you're disabled. I really want to encourage you to get your podcast out there. If you don't want to do podcasts right now, get a TikTok, get a YouTube, do something, because the only way the disabled community is going to change for the better is if we get more people that are not willing to take the, oh, here's what we have for you, that's it. No.
Yep.
um so that's the only way the disabled community is going to change. And I won't be afraid to speak up, speak out, and speak out about it. And you shouldn't be either. But anyway, so yeah, it's been a great episode. Kyle, any final thoughts?
Nope. I just find Nick, if anything that you said that interests you, for him to be on a speaking engagement for you, to come and talk to your employees. If you're in the disabled space, if you're not in the disabled space, Nick would be a fantastic educator / speaker for you. Get a hold of him through the links that are in the description. Get a hold of me. My links are in the description as well. You can't not find me in the world if you spell my last name correctly. I am the first 19 or 20 things on Google when you type in Kyle Goodnight and spell it with the K in the middle. So if you get a hold of us like 6 months later, like, I just couldn't get a hold of you guys. No, that's not a thing. You can get a hold of us.
Yeah. Yep. You can get a hold of us anytime. And honestly, if you guys are looking for podcasting, this is the man I would recommend.
I appreciate it, Nick.
Because he puts his
We're boosting each other. If you want speakers, this is the man you want right there, Nick Comstock.
well, yep, and Kyle Goodnight. That's the man you want right there for your podcast. So there you go. And yes, we
It
do
was a
have
virtual hug, Nick. That was a virtual hug, buddy.
yes, we do have a bromance. Deal with it anyway. We will see you guys next week for a whole new year, and hopefully, I'm working on a guest right now. So hopefully, we'll have a guest for the first episode in January. But thank you guys for making this a great year. Tell me what you enjoyed about the 2025 episodes of Nick Speaks. Tell me more what you want to see, topic ideas, all the things. This is the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nick Comstock. I will see you not only next week, but next year. Bye bye.